जय कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा गोपीजन वल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी। जय गिरिवरधारी। जय जय गोपीजन वल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी। जय गिरिवरधारी। जय यशोधनन्दन जय व्रजजनरञ्जन। जय यशोधनन्दन जय यशोदनन्दन जय व्रजजनरञ्जन। जय यशोदा जय यमुनातीरवनचारी। जय कुंज विहारी। जय यमुना जय यमुनातीरवनचारी। जय कुंज विहारी। जय यमुना हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे राम राम हरे हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Vrindavan Chandra Radha Vrindavan Chandra Radha Vrindavan Chandra Shri Radhe. Jaya Jaghannatha Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Sudarshana Jaya Jaya Gauranita Jaya Gauranita Gauranita Shri Shri Gauranita. Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacharya Ashtotara Shata Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Abhecharana Aravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki ISKCON BBT Samstapakacharya His Divine Grace Abhecharana Aravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacharya Ashtotara Shata Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nama Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Radha Kund Sham Kund Giriraj Govardhan Ki Jai Braja Bhumi Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Mayapur Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Shri Kshetra Purushottam Dham Ki Jai Pandaripur Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Tulasi Maharani Ki Jai Golokira Premadan Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Brihadbhang Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nasta Prayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. Welcome to all the devotees for today's Srimad Bhagavatam class in the morning. And today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 24, entitled with the subtitle Heavenly Planets, verse number 1 to 8. So these are all verses are in the prose, and some of the text verses are not having the purport. So directly I'm going into the 8th verse, and subsequently I will completely read the translation, and whichever having the small purports, just I will go ahead and we will take up this verse 8th translation and purport in this today's discussion. It's again prose, just I will read. एतेषु हि भिलस्वर्गेषु स्वर्गाद् अपि अधिककामा भोगैश्वर्यानन्द भूति विभूतिभिः सुसमृद्धा भवनोद्यानाकृधा विहारेषु दैत्या धानवा काध्रवेय नित्या प्रमुदितानुनर्था कलत्रापत्यबन्धु सुहृद् अनुचरा गृहपतया ईश्वराद् अपि अप्रतिहता कामा मायाविनोधा निवसन्ति. Translation and purport and word to word meaning by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Eteshu, in these, he certainly, Bilasvargeshu, known as the heavenly subterranean worlds, Swargat, that the heavenly planets, Api, even, Adhika, a greater quantity, Kama Bhoga, enjoyment of sense gratification, Aishwarya Ananda, bliss due to opulence, Bhuti, influence, Vibhuti Bihi, by those things and wealth, Susamruddha, improved, Bhavana, houses, Udyana, gardens, Akrida Vihareshu, in places for different types of sense gratification, Daitya, the demons, Danava, ghosts, Kadraveyaha, snakes, Nitya, who are always, Pramudita, overjoyed, Anurakta, because of attachment, Kalatra, to wife, Apatya, children, Bandhu, family relations, Suhrut, friends, Anucharaha, followers, Grihapatayaha, the heads of the households, Ishwarat, than those more capable, like the demigods, Api, even, Apratihat Kamaha, whose fulfillment of lusty desires is unimpeded. Maya, illusory. Vinoda, who feel happiness. Nivasanti, live. Translation and purport. I will read from the beginning and I will come to the 8th. Verse number 1, beginning onwards. Shri Sukadeva Goswami said, "My dear king, some historians, the speakers of the Purana, says the 10,000 yojanas, 80,000 miles below the sun is the planet known as Rahu, which moves like one of the stars. The presiding deity of that planet, who is the son of the Simhika, is the most abominable of the all asuras. But although he is completely unfit to assume the position of the demigod or planetary deity, he has achieved that position by the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Later, I shall speak further about this." Second verse. "The sun globe, which is a source of heat, extends for the 10,000 yojanas, that is 80,000 miles. The moon extends for 20,000 yojanas, it's 160,000 miles. And a Rahu extends for 30,000 yojanas, it's 240,000 miles. Formerly, when nectar was being distributed, Rahu tried to create a distance between the sun and the moon by interposing himself between them. Rahu is inimical toward the both sun and the moon. And therefore, he always tries to cover the sunshine and the moonshine on the dark moon day and full moon night. Purport. As stated herein, the sun extends for the 10,000 yojanas and the moon extends for the twice, and the word Dwadasha should be understood to mean twice as much as the 10 or 20. In the opinion of Vijayadwaja, the extent of the Rahu should be twice than the moon or 40,000 yojanas. However, to reconcile this apparent contradiction to the text of this Bhagavatam, Vijayadwaja cites the following quotation concerning Rahu. Rahu Soma Ravinam tu Mandala Dvignotitam. This means that Rahu is twice as large as the moon, which is the twice as large as the sun. This is the conclusion of the commentator Vijayadwaja. Verse number 3. After hearing from the sun and the moon demigods about Rahu's attack, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu engages his disc known as the Sudarshana Chakra to protect them. The Sudarshan Chakra is the Lord's most beloved devotee and is favored by the Lord. The intense heat of its effulgence meant for killing non-Vaishnavas is unbearable to Rahu, and he therefore flees in fear of it. During the time of Rahu disturbs the sun or the moon, there occurs what people commonly known as an eclipse. The Supreme Personality of a Godhead, this is a purport. The Supreme Personality of a Godhead, Vishnu, is always the protector of his devotees, who are also known as demigods. The controlling demigods are most obedient to Lord Vishnu. Although they also want material sense enjoyment, and that is why they are called demigods, or almost godly. Although Rahu attempts to attack both the sun and the moon, they are protected by Lord Vishnu. Being very afraid of Lord Vishnu's chakra, Rahu cannot stay in front of the sun or the moon for more than one muhurta, 48 minutes. The phenomenon that occurs when Rahu blocks the light of the sun or the moon is called an eclipse. The attempt of the scientists of this earth to go to the moon is as demoniac as Rahu's attack. Of course, their attempts will be failures because no one can enter the moon or the sun so easily. Like the attack of the Rahu, such attempts will certainly be failures. Fourth, below Rahu by 10,000 yojanas, that is 80,000 miles, are the planets known as Siddhaloka, Charana Loka and Vidyadhara Loka. It is said that the residents of the Siddha, being naturally endowed with the power of the yogis, can go from one planet to the another by their natural mystic powers without using airplanes or similar machines. Beneath Vidyadhara Loka, Charana Loka and Siddha Loka, in the sky called Antariksha, are the places of enjoyment for the Yakshas, Rakshasas, Pishachas, ghosts, and so on. Antariksha extends as far as the wind blows and the clouds float in the sky. Above this, there is no more air. Below the abodes of the Yaksha and Rakshasas, by a distance of 100 yojanas, that means 800 miles, is the planet Earth. Its upper limits extends as high as swans, hawks, eagles, and similar large birds and fly. My dear king, beneath this earth are the 7 other planets known as Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, and Patala. I have already explained the situation of the planetary systems of the earth, the width and the length of the 7 loetary planetary systems, and calculated to be exactly the same as those of earth. And coming to today's translation text, translation and purport as follows. In these 7 planet systems, which are the below of the earth, which are also known as the subterranean heavens, Bilva Swarga, there are very beautiful houses, gardens, and places of sense enjoyment, which are even more opulent than those in the higher planets, because the demons have a very high standard of sensual pleasure. wealth, and influence. Most of the residents of those planets, who are known as Daityas, Danavas, and Nagas, live as householders. Their wives, children, friends, and society are all fully engaged in illusory material happiness. The sense enjoyment of the demigods is sometimes disturbed, but the residents of these planets are enjoy life without disturbances. Thus, they are understood to be very attached to illusory happiness. Purport. According to the statement of the Prahlad Maharaj, material enjoyment is Maya Sukha, illusory enjoyment. A Vaishnava is full of anxieties for deliverance of all living entities from such false enjoyment. Prahlad Maharaj says, Maya Sukaya Bharam Udavahato Vimudhan. These fools, means Vimudas, are engaged in material happiness, which is surely temporary, whether in heavenly planets, the lower planets, or earthly planets. People are engrossed in temporary material happiness, forgetting that in due course of time they have to change their bodies according to the material laws and suffer the repetition of birth, death, old age, and disease. Not caring what will happen in the next birth, gross materialists are simply busy enjoying during the present short span of life. A Vaishnava is always anxious to give all such bewildered materialists the real happiness of spiritual bliss. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshuronmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padhan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, this chapter 24, the subterranean heavenly planets, which is, so previously it was described all the other different, this is going on in this Bhumandala, Jambudvipa, how it's displayed, and everything is Antariksha and heavenly planets and Bhumandala, and below that, this is lower planetary systems and everything. It's very little. It's not so much complicated when we follow in the footsteps of the Acharyas. It's very easy to understand. A mode of a goodness person, just like as we know from the DVS course, we say that there are the three types of people and they will learn with three variations. Just like first one is Shabda Pramana and Anumana Pramana and Pratyaksha Pramana. So one person who is very intelligent enough to go back to God, to learn from the Vedas and the scriptures as a mother, to know who is God, he will just simply accept the Vedas what is describing it. and he is a very intelligent person, and he is well qualified for to practice spirituality and go back to Godhead. So that's how, if we can able to understand, as in this verses, Srila Prabhupada described about what is it meaning of Rahu, and how this Rahu, and during the time of Samudra Mantana, which that Nectarian god, and how Rahu is becoming envious of these demigods, and especially the sun god and the moon god, and he wants to acquire that. And since then, he developed the envious nature towards to sun and the moon. Because of that reason, which occurs that he blocks the sun. As it is described, Srila Prabhupada said, sun and the moon and the Rahu will be double than that. When the moon and the sun, in between of this, the Rahu when occurs, or in between the sun and the earth, between that, if the Rahu will comes up, what happens? The shadow of the Rahu will fall on the earth. Rather, the sunshine of the sun will fall on the earth. So that's called as an eclipse. Srila Prabhupada is describing, as in the current modern education, the people what they call it as eclipse. So easy to understand, but people trying to go to the moon and the sun and trying to acquire some knowledge, which Prabhupada again is telling that they are such kind of fools and moodas. They cannot understanding very easily, but still they are trying. As Rahu is getting fail in staying in front of sun and the moon, because they are, of course, demigods, and they are assisting the Lord Vishnu in his government. So what he is doing? Anytime, whenever somebody comes and attacks, Vishnu doesn't sit ideally. Even on this earthly planet also, when we say that, Yada idahi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharataha. So even Krishna is coming on the earthly planet. What do you think about the demigods? He always rescue them. Then during that time, what he's sending? The Sudarshana Chakra. Because of the dazzling of this Sudarshana, this Rahu doesn't stay even not more than one muhurta, that is 45 minutes. That's called as what we know in our modern education system is called eclipse. So further, Prabhupada described about different planetary systems. Below that, Vidyadhara Loka, Charana, Siddha Loka. These are all above the earthly planets. So that 7 planet systems got over. And now the earth comes. And below the earth, what are all this? Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Tala, Atala, Rasatala, Patala. And Prabhupada is explaining about what happened in this. From the 7th verse, these 7 planetary, the lower, that is called Bilva Swarga. Swarga means heavenly planets. What is there in the Swarga? Enjoyment. So somebody wants to get more enjoyment than these earthly planets, then he has to go to heavenly planets. That's how the people used to do some punya, so many things they used to do and try to acquire something. So if at all somebody wants to enjoy more of, Prabhupada is writing in this purport, not to go to this enjoyment, but comparing to that heavenly planet's enjoyment, Prabhupada is describing in this 8th verse, this Bilva Swarga, in this lowly planetary system is much more enjoyment is there than heavenly planets what the demigods enjoy. Because that's what these people, these asuras, has been meant for. So much sense gratification. And Prabhupada is describing about this this sense gratification, what we think, either in above the Swarga, that is Swarga Loka, or in the below the earth, that is Bilva Swarga. Prabhupada is writing is, it's temporary. For a short moment of time it will be there. As we heard in this material world, as we are studying in our schools and colleges days, the people used to say the slogan that, how much you can able to enjoy and how long you will enjoy. That's a greater negative sense of it. But after coming back to Krishna consciousness, we can able to understanding how long you can enjoy, how much you can enjoy. What does it mean? How long? Say for example, after Bhagavatam, we have breakfast prasadam, very delicious food stuff which is offered to Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandra is coming to our plate. It's very interesting for us, and even on this morning, Rasgulla, Rasamalai, Sandesh which offered to the Lordships, everything has come for each and every participant of Srimad Bhagavatam and whoever come to the class. Okay, the plate has come in front of us. How much time a devotee can able to honor, or how much time a person can able to honor either breakfast, lunch or dinner? Say for example, at maximum half an hour. That's all. After that, you have to rush for it. And how much he can enjoy? Whatever it is there in his stomach, and how much he can able to acquire, and that too 1 or 2 sweets, not more than that. It's a limitation. And again, the sense of pleasure is very, very temporary. And after that, again, mind is flickering. What will get in the lunch? And there also, how much we can enjoy and how long we can enjoy. So not knowing that, the fools, as Prabhupada is writing in this purport, is trying to enjoy unlimitedly the sense gratification, either the above the Swarga, I mean to say that the Swarga or the Bilva Swarga into these lower planetary systems. As we said that the Nagas and then everybody, they are the household life. They have the wives, children. They don't have any disease. They don't have anything. But one thing is guaranteed. Abrahma bhuvanar loka punaravartino Arjuna. Prabhupada is writing that, not knowing these mudhas, that after some period of time, what happens? Janma, mrityu, jara, vyadi. It's there on this earthly planet. But on the above, that is in a Swarga, and below, that is a below Swarga, even this lower planetary systems, these two things like growth and another one is like a jara. It's like a vyadi. They may not be there. Death, what is the meaning of death? Kshine punye martya lokam vishante. Once they have completed their punya and whatever they have acquired to sense gratificatory senses in there, what they are supposed to do? Martya lokam vishante, then have to come into this earthly planet. That's called, this is called as martya loka. Only the martya means mrityu. It's there in this earthly planet. But one can able to conquer this mrityu through the process of devotional service by taking up our life and soul and taking the process of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One can able to cross over Janma, Mrityu, Jara and Vyadi. As Srila Prabhupada writes in this purport of this, repeated of this Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi. Otherwise, there is no scope. And Punarapi Maranam, Punarapi Jananam, Janari Jatare Shayanam, Ite Samsare Bahudukkar. So just you have to repeat again and again. People often ask the question, then why the people are having so much wealth? One is middle class, one is the low class. What does it mean of that? Does it mean just he earned in this lifetime? No. He might have been acquired. His father, his forefathers, his great-grandfathers might have been acquired that much punya like of wealth, health. So this currently, we are enjoying that. But ultimately, the enjoyment, who is the enjoyer? Bhoktaram yajñatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhridam sarvabhutanam jnatvam shantamuchyate. In the Bhagavad Gita 5.29, Krishna saying that, I am the bhokta, I am the enjoyer. But if we connect, this vibhuti belongs to Krishna, then that enjoyment will not cause effect to that person. Then what it leads to him? Pure devotional service. Because he is serving Krishna. Understanding everything is the vibhuti of Krishna. As we know in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna spoke to Arjuna about all his vibhutis. As we saw yesterday and maybe to the last class, His Grace Krishna Kishore Prabhu was explaining everything is connected to Krishna. He's explaining about that. See, everything is in terms of vibhuti of Krishna. Till then, the person who is enjoying in this life, what is getting from his previous forefathers, doesn't affect any karmic reactions. Because he is connecting to Krishna. Say for example, if he is enjoying just like sense gratification, as we know this in above, that is Swargaloka, the demigods and the demons in this lower, that is Bilva Swarga, in this lower planetary systems, enjoying so much sense gratification. Eat, meat, be merry. Eat and sleep and be merry in this world, the slogan goes. If a person is doing like that, what happens? He can enjoy as much as the crores of rupees his fathers, forefathers has given to him. What happens? Kshine punye martyalokam vishante. That has gone. The next, he didn't use, rather he misused it. Not only not using properly, that's okay. He might have been in the zero, in the neutral. But he misused it. Misused it. So Krishna taken away that. That's called what we see in this planet. I mean, it's to middle class, according to their calibers, lower class, slum areas. So according to one's own, whatever that, ye tamam prapadyante, how we approach Krishna, Krishna reciprocates to us. But again, when we go to the 10th chapter, just like we saw the first example, when his example, the devotee, or else the person, is enjoying everything, the vibhuti of Krishna, in the service of Krishna, and is trying to see everything connected to Krishna. तेषां सततयुक्तानां भजतां प्रीतिपूर्वकम ददामि बुद्धि योगम। ऐसे भक्तों को बुद्धि देता है भगवान। कहाँ जाने के लिए? स्वर्ग, बिल्व स्वर्ग, हेवनली? नो, to come to my planet, to Krishna Loka, back to God in Goloka. Yad gatvan anivartante tadhama paramamama. And there is no sunlight, there is no moonlight, everything is chintamanidam, self-effulgent. From all of you also, when we go to spiritual world, the self-effulgent will come from all of your transcendental body, which is Satchitananda. So Prabhupada is writing, so that's how we have to utilize our this human form of life, which is rare opportunity which we got in this earthly planet. And on the contrary of getting this human form of life, we have got very special intelligence, IQ. Not only IQ, it is like an SQ, the spiritual quest we have to do. Why we have come into this world, what we are supposed to do, where we have to go after this birth, death. So then we have to take up the process of devotional service and engage everything in the service of Krishna. Krishna says, you can enjoy everything in this world what I have created in my service. That's there again in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says everything you can engage in my service. Otherwise, what Prabhupada is writing in this verse? The short temporary span of enjoyment a person is enjoying is known as fool, not understanding. After fraction of time, he has to leave this world and he has to die and passing away, and he has acquired whatever he has acquired. He has to carry that as a balance. Then he has to enjoy that balance according to that, either heaven or hellish. But again, there will be a lot of enjoyment is there. But again, the person will be stuck up. So that's the reason Prabhupada is writing here in this verse, this person is called as Mudha, foolish. Not only Mudha, Prabhupada is writing, is called as these fools, Vimudha, Vishesha Rupena Mudha. It's very specially trying to acquire everything. I am the enjoyer. I am the proprietor. Everything is meant for my own enjoyment. And we see what is the meaning of this Vimudha. Srila Prabhupada writes in this Bhagavad Gita. There are few places which I will try to identify, highlight. In Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, verse number 6, Srila Prabhupada writes that Karmendriyani samyamya yaste manasasmaran indriyartan vimudhatma mityachara sa uchate. So he's telling, the person has removed completely away from this sense enjoyment. This is good, sense enjoyment. He is completely get rid of that. He's completely controlling of everything is. But only thing is meditating upon the sense objects constantly. That's why Prabhupada is meeting is a mudha and mityachara. He's trying to control everything. But what he's doing? He's trying to focus on the sense objects. Just like internally enjoying the sense objects. Externally has get rid of everything. We have also removed everything. We also come into the Krishna consciousness by giving up everything and joining into the Lord Chaitanya's army as a soldiers. But some tinge of sense enjoyment as focusing on the sense objects, the goal of life, then one has to fall prey to Maya and go back to hellish. So rather one has to utilize that propensity to connect it to Krishna as the vibhutis, as the verse which describes that 5.29. Other than verse, Prabhupada writes that 27 verse of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashaka ahankara vimudhatma kartaham iti manyate. Again, he is thinking, kartaham iti manyate. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashaha. The spirit soul is getting bewildered by the influence of this false ego and thinking that I am the enjoyer, I am the maintainer, I am the proprietor. As says that in this Bilva Sarga, what is there? This Nagas and Yavanas and everyone enjoying that. It's good, my wife, my bungalow, my children, and then everything. So he is thinking himself. And he is the well-wisher of everything. Suhrudam sarvadehinam. But Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I am that. Suhrudam sarvadehinam. But because of this influence of this false ego and under the influence of the 3 modes of material nature, why is thinking? He is the doer of. Kartaham ihitmanyate. So I am the doer. And that are the actual carried out by 3 modes of material nature. He is not exactly. Even when we are executing the living entity in this earthly planet, he is not the doer. Because of the modes of the nature as acting upon that personality, so he is forcefully dragged. Arjuna also asked Krishna, what is that? Is dying. So this is what? Is dragged by these three modes of material nature and is forcefully do that activity. But if only you can use that intelligence. Think about that Krishna is the main personality of that. And all these vibhutis are belongs to Krishna and he can enjoy much, unlimitedly. How much one can enjoy and how long? Krishna can enjoy. As Madhavendra Puri, this Chandan Yatra is going on, Madhavendra Puri has begun of this. And your pastime will come in this, on your area when you are going to the parikrama in the Govardhana. He called, Anyor, give me more, give me more. If you can come 2 gulab jamun, 10 gulab jamuns, Prabhu, thank you. If possible, my glasses or something, if somebody wants to give it to his friends, because he didn't come for today's feast, you can give my friend, I wanted to give it to him. But for me, sufficient. How much one can able to enjoy? So Krishna enjoy unlimitedly. And how long? Non-stop. There is no stop. But to give us some chance, so Krishna sometimes gives us little small breaks for his pastimes. Because he continuously enjoy, but we cannot relish those things. So we need some breaks up. Right? So that is the reason. So again, one more verse, Prabhupada is describing about this Vimuda, how the foolishly thinking. Bhagavad Gita 15.10. What Prabhupada is saying about that? Utkramantam stipam vapi bunjanam vagunanvitam vimudananu pashanti jnana chakshusha. Fools, that is vimudas, cannot understand how a living entity can quit his body. As I said just now, eat, sleep, be merry. But he is not understanding. After some time, we have to leave this world. Jara is there, and after that Mrityu is there. And whatever we have acquired, this is wife, children, friends, relatives, bungalows, wealth and everything he has to give up. But not understanding that he is just enjoying, even at the cost of 80, 90, 100, extended sense gratification, trying to enjoy somehow or the other. By all means, not understanding that after some time, just I am going to leave this body. So let me focus on at least God. Antekale Narayana Smriti. No way. So what's happening over there? Not understanding how he is going to quit this body and what he is going to get in the next future life. He is enjoying. So Prabhupada is mentioning that he is such kind of a fools. But then how to get out of this? We can also inquire. But in this purport, Srila Prabhupada very, very beautifully explaining that what is the hope for us then? Such kind of a fools, such kind of a vimudas like of lifestyle when person is enjoying in this mortal world and even in this bilva and even in this above, that is Swargaloka. Prabhupada is writing in the purport. It's out of context of these verses. Verses is going on this technical things. So Prabhupada is writing. So that's the reason I have taken up this verse, especially to the purport. According to the statements of Prahlad Maharaj, material enjoyment is Maya Sukha. Sukha means enjoyment. Maya means illusion. Illusion enjoyment. But still people cannot understanding this. Sukha is there. But the Sukha is Maya. Maya means that which is not this thinking that I am the enjoyer. Not thinking that Krishna is the enjoyer. Let me give the enjoyment on behalf of, let me accept it. Not like that. So he's thinking like that. But Vaishnava is full of anxieties. Why a Vaishnava is having an anxiety? Not just because of staying in this mortal world. He's happy. Why? He always sees everything in related to Krishna. As Prahlad Maharaj only says everything sees Krishna in his pastime. Like recently we celebrated Prahlad Narsimdev Chaturdashi. So the pastime comes how I think Vaisasika Prabhu. I think Vyasika Prabhu only is told about that. All different pastimes, Krishna, different avatars, when the Lord appeared, devotee serves the Lord. But what happens in this pastime of Lord Narsimdev when he appeared? What is the purpose of appearance of Lord Narsimdev? To give the protection to the Vaishnava. Then see why he wants to give. Prahlad Maharaj is thinking when the demons, I mean to say that's a demonic tendency, like his father and his followers, is throwing from the top of the hills on the ground. Because if something is there cushioned, then he will get, just like in the circus, there is a net. He will be get saved. It's not like that. On the stones, on the earth directly, then immediately the person will become smashed. Then what is the thought of Prahlad Maharaj? He's thinking, is Bhudevi. Who is the Bhudevi? His mother earth. Earth, but she's mother. When you're falling in the lap of a mother, can something harm to happen to you? No. What is the loss in it? I'm very happy that they are throwing into the lap of my mother. So it's connecting to Krishna. So his mother, that is Krishna consciousness. So on forward, all the different pastimes also, like how Prahlad Maharaj is connecting to these things. When with snakes hissing and everything, he's telling, he's Anantasesh, he's Sheshnag, he is the bed of Mahavishnu. It's a Vishnu and he's a servant of. Then how he can able to harm me? He will not harm. So like that, one has to be think in the direction of. So devotee doesn't have any anxieties. Even he has been tortured uttermostly in this material world. But Prahlad Maharaj is saying in this 7th canto of 9th verse, actually in this, he says about this, Maya Sukaya Bhavan. So in that he says actually, I don't have any problem, my Lord. I don't want anything going to the heaven. I don't want anything. I am only thinking about the people on this planet so foolishly enjoying. How can they be delivered? Actually, this happens after his father. He asks his father, but thing is simultaneously actually this, he thinks about the people in this world as foolishly thinking this is enjoyment is the all in all, not knowing your lotus feet is the shelter. So how these people can get liberation? So this is what the great characteristic of a Vaishnava. So that's what Prabhupada is describing. And even not only, and that's the reason actually these great souls travel time and time just like Narada Muni. And in the case of Mrugari and Ratnakar, the same thing had happened. He delivered utter foolishly when they are enjoying the sense gratification. Even Mrugari is killing off kill. Such a devil enjoyment. He's telling, at least kill completely. You kill, but completely kill them. Don't make them off killed. So then he got transformed. Ratnakar also got transformed. Mrugari got transformed. Jagai Madai, when they are enjoying so much sense gratification, Nityananda Prabhu, Marke Premade, Doyal Nitayre, they were beating him. Blood is coming, but still he is giving. Try to deliver such kind of foolish people, those who are enjoying. So this is a great characteristic of a Vaishnava. Narada Muni is showing, Prahlad Maharaj is showing, Nityananda Prabhu is showing. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself in the form of a devotee, he is showing why he traveled to the South India. He was telling to deliver all the people in the South because they are completely foolishly enjoying and thinking. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also appeared. Last but not least, even Srila Prabhupada would have been enjoyed very nicely his own life in Sri Radha Damodar temple in Vrindavan. And he would have been completely satisfied with that. No anxieties. But that is not the Vaishnava's attire. He also followed in the footsteps of the great Acharyas. And the Lord himself, when he had come into this planet like a Prithu Maharaj, he also showed the same way. And Parikshit Maharaj showed the same way. Anxiety for the fallen souls to deliver them. And Srila Prabhupada followed in their footsteps. Thought of to deliver the fallen souls into this world. He traveled to the Western and established this ISKCON, International Society for Krishna Consciousness, and given us that opportunity to practice pure devotional service, unmotivated, uninterrupted, unconditional devotional service to the lotus feet of Radha Vrindavan Chandra. Just by taking this process simply, just have a desire to go back to Godhead and just follow. Two things only. As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told, two things we have to do is chant holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Because when we attach it to this sense gratification and enjoyment, there will be start offenses. Why this person is getting more, why I'm not getting more? Then that's the reason Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told, chant the holy name without any offense to Vaishnava. And I will sure I'm take back home back to Godhead. And Prabhupada also with this concept of a Vaishnava artist showing that try to deliver these fallen conditioned souls in this world. He traveled to Western countries with all means of troublesome. Still he doesn't have any anxiety. Only anxiety was how to deliver the Vimudas like all of us. Thank to Srila Prabhupada and thank to all Vaishnavas. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.